I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
We are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 24. Last episode was a good one. We got reacquainted with an old friend, Annie. Learned a bit about her backstory and her upbringing, which was traumatic, sad, but also left us feeling like we wanted Annie to see her dad again. I don't know if that's going to happen because he is or is not currently shot and dead. We don't know yet.
But it felt very fulfilling to finally kind of realize and hear Annie's motivations, her character motivations, her thinking that we've been trying to unlock and figure out all of this time.
I wonder if Annie and Hitch are going to meet anybody on their journey.
We have a lot of people journeying right now.
Yeah, whether that is Connie and Falco, whether that is Hanji, Levi, and Peak. I cannot wait to see their
Armin and Gabby.
Oh yeah, Armin, Gabby, Mikasa. God, I don't even know at this point, right? I am very interested to see Jean's progression going forward here as well.
It's been in the making since season 1.
You know what's interesting? We got some of my favorite episodes this season, and a lot of them were Eren-centric, and I would not change a thing about them. But it's also really awesome and nice to just get other people, like some side characters that we completely love, and seeing them shine on screen. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see okay, question for you. Out of each little squad group, who are you most excited to get back to or follow around? Eren is included in that, by the way.
Well, the beauty of this season has been that we even started the season with people that we had never met before. Throughout, all of these seasons we've watched, we've really gotten to know Eren and his friends. And this season, I think, flawlessly was like, hey, we're not going to follow those people anymore. And I still felt so immersed and so excited. And it was so easy to connect and understand these new characters that we were getting to know. And so I think the show has been really great at focusing on characters other than the main ones that have been introduced since the beginning. And because of that, I think, gosh, they're all going to be so interesting. Of course, I really want to know what Connie is going to end up doing.
Yeah.
We think he might die. But I think at the moment I am most wondering how this Hanji and Peak interaction is gonna go.
I am with you. I think that I'm most wondering though how the Connie Falco situation is going to progress, because the dialogue between them last episode had me like, oh my god, if we said in the discussion, if Falco nicks his finger or something, is Connie gonna react scared?
The stakes of Connie and Falco right now are probably maybe the highest stakes right now. Yes, I know Magath has a gun pointed at Hanji and all that,
and the whole world is currently being annihilated by the rumbling.
Yeah,
that's a pretty big stake.
Yeah, but I don't know if it would be as entertaining to just see all of them marching for a long time.
It's an uncomfortable tenseness that we have over Connie and Falco right now, that it's I want to see it, but I don't. Show me more, but maybe not, I don't want to.
I think the rumbling is a really great background tension to be having right now. Yeah. And that's almost why I wouldn't want to zoom in on it right now and see what Eren's doing. Yeah. Because I think it's really awesome that I keep reminding myself that it's happening right now in the background of everything else that we're getting close up.
Yeah, both literally and figuratively, because it is literally in the background. Half the shots.
When Jean was watching Flock, and you just see all of the
so good
Titans
Flock. Oh my god, that's a character I want to see again. I think the group that would give me the most pure happiness and joy would definitely be the Hanji Peak group, because it's just Hanji's character has me
that's entertainment, but maybe for narrative, maybe it's best to kind of see if Anya Capone and Jean have an interaction in the next episode.
Everything's so good. All right, I'm ready. You?
Let's see it all.
Sweet. We've seen a lot of messed up stuff, but we've never gotten a title card like that. Holy shit.
君だけ生き残った。君がアッカーマンだからだ。
Levi needed no reason to look cooler, and now he's gonna have 2 cool scars.
れないだろうし、ある意味指令に託すしか。
Let me tell you.
エレンがジークを裏切っていたとしたちは一生この島の。
Do you think this is gonna be their journey to get up to the point where we ended last
I
episode?
think so.
多分順番が来たんだ。
Oh, is this all gonna be Hanji?
Please. Hanji alone.
時代が変われば牢屋の中。ここで暮らそうか。ねえ、リヴァイ。エレンが世界を。リヴァイ。クソ野郎はどこだ。起きなくていい。志願しなくへ向かった。それから半日ほど経ってる。死を選ぶ覚悟があることを見抜けずに。
Because didn't he reach his hand out kind of like this?
このまま逃げ隠れて。なんだよ。私の一人あれで俺を飛行ってかおとなしくできるはずがねえ。ああ、そうなんだよ。
Why doesn't Hanji have a monocle yet?
ジークを殺すことだ。アンピークフィン
リヴァイア・カーマン強さを持つらしいが、そのざまでどうやって俺の弾丸を避けるつもり。
このざまを敵の前にミスミスさらしたあんたたち次第だ。
では撃つ前に聞こう。ジークを殺すと言ったが、
王家の血を利用するためにエレンに取り込む。
That makes sense.
あれはやるしかないんだよ。みんなで力を合わせよう。
I loved that you could hear it so loud in that background, the whole conversation. I also love that they know of each other. It's
Hanji has this, like, this quality about her that makes me feel like she's aware she's in an anime. Like, she's like,
Yes.
oh, I've seen an anime like this before. We need to put all of our powers together. Like,
Yeah,
make
yeah,
one
yeah.
mega person, you know?
I don't think I'll ever get sick of this song.
Imagine being the song that comes next.
Oh,
Like,
they're gonna have to just use this song for the rest of it.
it's like Aubrey Plaza. Like, her first time doing stand-up, I think, was right after, Adam Sandler performed. Like, how are you gonna do it? Like, what are you gonna do?
I mean, Aubrey Plaza is amazing.
Yeah.
so-
Pride.
Okay. The title word choices have been awesome this season. Savage, you know.
God damn.
How could you sleep while you hear this? Wonder who Mikasa is crying about.
How do the lights still work if the hardening is destroyed?
どうすればいい。やっぱり力ずくか。巨人の力があることがバレたらおしまいだか。いい方法を考えないと。素直な子だよな。俺のことを。くそ。サシャ。
No. Maybe she would have understood, but she wouldn't have agreed with how you're going about it.
ここラガコ村。どうして昨晩あなたの独り言が聞こえてきました。飛行船でガビに撃たれた。
Saying that out loud?
Connie!
俺が誰かを知りながら。
Does he know that he has the Titan power now?
違う。あれは戦闘行為だったと。このままなんだ。
He has shovels?
どうするつもりですか。
Can he really do this while he's conscious and looking you in the face?
巨人の歯磨きを手伝ってほしいんだ。こんな貴重な体験。
Smooth. Smart. Get him near it. Push him in.
なあ、いいだろ。コビ、あんたを巨人に食われ。コニー、やめろ。来るな。
Falco has enough information now to deduce that he has somebody's power.
何も言うな。お前には分からねえよ。言うんだろ。だから母ちゃんを飽きるお前なんかにバカのことなんて分かんねえよ。
I know it all would know, idiots.
That's a good
Sasha.
line.
That's why he keeps talking about Sasha. Is Armin gonna have to kill Connie? No way. Not even possible. He's gonna kill
Is he
Connie's
gonna-
mom!
Or I think they're trying to lead us to believe he's gonna jump in himself.
And sacrifice himself to
Yeah.
Connie's mom?
I love Armin so much.
He made Connie choose.
超大型巨人母ちゃんを苦しめるって考えりゃわかることなのに子供と友達を殺すかもしれなかったそんな兵士になっちまったんだ俺は団長の代わりになれなかった俺は母ちゃんに誇れる兵士になりたいだから困ってる人を助けに行こう
At least she saw him, even though she's not really there, saw her son save somebody in a really fucked up way.
She did.
Cannot believe it.
To almost like release her, maybe?
Holy shit.
世界に勝利した母に加わって統治者に名乗りてるのからしいがな心臓を捧げよう
John knows what he's doing.
John's a smarty.
Yeah.
You gotta stay close to your enemy.
Like Keith said, right? Choose a good time
You
when
have
to
to
stand
wait.
up.
Yeah, you have to wait for the right time.
This is so odd to see, you know?
寄り道してていいんですかしかし本当なのかアルミン兄が復活した可能性も
Stop everything.
兄がやめなよコニー汚ねえ食い方よごめん並ぶのに
Aww.
偶然ある
I wanted Hitch to come!
行動を共にすることになったさようなら陰湿なルームメイト
Gloomy roommate.
I've never eaten pie with my hands.
Have I ever eaten pie?
エルディア帝国にあだなす二人の義勇兵を処刑する
John's holding a.
同時にベレンの意志を継ぎこのパラディ島の統治をの名はイエレナ働いた司令ファイターさっさと近くに落ちろイエレナくたばれ大陸め俺たちエビルのためにはかなわないまだ撃たない罪人はおにゃんこぽん罪人は安楽死
Say what you will about Flock. He's a showman.
切るくらいなら死を選ぶと吐き捨てた今のうちにエルディアに力を貸したそれは俺の家族は皆殺しだ残ったのは出来の悪い排外主義者の
Oh,
Oh, shit.
生きるほどの価値はないどれほど理不尽なことか知ってるはずだろうがわからないんだじゃん
All next to him.
しまった外した
There's no way Jean would. Oh! No! Absolutely not!
But she's with Hanji. She wouldn't let...
Oh, and Pete can hold people in her mouth.
Yeah. They're taking them and running. Doing what Peek's best known for. Carrying people in her mouth. And back. Okay.
4 gunshots! Jean! Oh my god, they had a plan!
Those looks between Mikasa and Jean. So much is happening in such
made
quick
me-
succession.
You made me think Jean was dead.
Annie's still there, too. Keith?
I think so. That's the only person I could think it would be.
Can't be that bad.
それで部屋にこもっていたかったでも
Where's Reiner?
The ashy bones. The...
はあ。
言ってる意味がわからないけどありがとういいから
生きたまま引き渡せって
I am extremely excited for what's about to happen.
This is the best way to wake up for him. He probably thinks he's dreaming.
時間がね世界を救いに
There's so much power
so
in
good!
this room
Oh, that was
to save the
irresistible.
world. Okay, that was Attack on Titan, Season 4, Episode 24. The pacing of that episode was wild. Good episode, though. A lot happened, and what do you think about going through chronologically to try to break it down?
I think that is a great idea.
So we got a little bit of Hanji and Levi before the let's call it like the Aaron's announcement, right? To all of
Which we did wonder. You know, well, we didn't see them when we saw
Yeah.
a bunch of other people despite being in different locations.
I thought that it was really cool that we went back a little bit to see the progress to where we ended up at the end of last episode, because there are a lot of things that I think came into question for me for Hanji. Hanji is one of my favorite characters in the show, and she struggles and deals with things in a way that no other character in the show does. When she's shooting people and knowing that she has to, but it isn't easy for her. Like, she's one of the most compelling characters to think about, and how she thinks, to think about how her mind is working, and to see like her contemplate like, oh, it'd be easier if we just lived out here in the woods kind of thing. It was just really nice to see, and I love seeing any Hanji screen time we can get.
I completely agree with you. I mean, we know that internally she feels inadequate for the position that she is put in. And I did find it, you know, even more compelling in that regard that she brings up 2 names specifically in terms of like, maybe what are they doing? I don't remember exactly what she says, but she brings up Armin and then Commander Pixis.
Yeah.
And automatically I start thinking about Flock kind of referring to the old guard and Keith as well, in terms of kind of getting rid of anyone that was kind of high up already in the military and making sure that they are gone.
Yeah.
Once the Jaegerists step forward. And Hanji is basically the last person. Hanji and kind of Levi are the last people that might be considered in that,
Yeah.
as they would probably be killed by the Jaegerists. And so this was all kind of tying into things that we got last episode to go right into kind of Hanji and her bringing up Armin and Pixis.
Yeah, I was surprised to see initially that Levi seems to have lost 2 fingers, but it completely makes sense knowing what he dealt with and the explosion, how
Surprised he
close
didn't
it
lose
was.
more.
Yeah, and he's gonna get 2 scars because of it.
I mean,
Right?
honestly, Hanji is so awesome that she even knows how to do stitches.
Yeah,
Like,
well, of course, right?
She's so
like
awesome.
Yeah, she her knowledge is extraordinary
Yes.
in all fields. Levi's goal is to kill Zeke. That makes sense. It's what he promised to do for Erwin.
Yeah.
I wonder how that will play out because of his injuries currently, and seeming the best guess I think anyone has is that Zeke and Aaron are with each other right now. So I don't know how Levi would get there.
Right, because Hanji is guessing that Aaron is still using Zeke for the royal blood.
Which makes sense.
Yes, that makes sense.
And it's cool that Hanji has all the Titan knowledge, you know?
I really think that I appreciated the fact that both groups knew of each other.
Yeah.
Both name and somewhat of a little description.
Yeah.
That I thought was really funny. And I do think that Levi kind of having such bold words while still basically as he would be bedridden.
Yeah.
Unable to get up, and Magath even says something along those lines to him, like, you can't dodge bullets, and he's like, well,
Oh, no, I
mean,
can't.
it's up to you whether you shoot me or not.
Yeah.
So
And it's there was like a cool line that Magath had about Levi. He was like, Levi Ackerman, it seems you can stand up to one of the nine, which is one of the nine is a really cool line or a term title. But how do you plan on dodging a bullet like that? You know, it was cool. I hope we get a little bit more peak, like a dialogue, because I think that the little bit we got later on in the episode too between Peak and Hanji is peak writing.
do you think that we will kind of go back in time a little bit next episode with how everyone kind of came in on this plan, and maybe even the creation of a plan between Hanji and Peak, the saying, we want Yelena, you know, that sort of thing?
I really, really hope so, because this show, this episode, it was hard to process all of my emotions all at once because of the quick successions and surprises that were happening. And one of my favorite things about the show is pacing and their usage of dialogue, and they're not scared to, where other shows will skip dialogue in between two characters that might be difficult to write to convince somebody of joining or plans. This show always takes a step at handling that head on.
We hear so much.
Yeah, so
we know so much, and we get to witness so much.
So it was a little out of character almost, in a way, for so many things to happen without us seeing interactions in the plan. So I'm hoping that we get a little bit of it.
It worked so well for suspense. Obviously, in no realm of possibility were some of the things that were about to happen at the end of the episode did I think were even possible, and they shocked me so much that I'm glad that I didn't know there was a plan.
Me too.
Because of obviously that like adrenaline rush of thinking that these things were gonna happen.
Yeah.
And we'll get into it because we're going in chronological order.
And us yes, we're gonna get into a chronological order. But to touch on if we might get an explanation next episode, we could have a perfect setup too with Reiner waking up and explaining things to him,
telling him how we're gonna save the world
and how they got there, and
how
they're all together.
why are we
in a
all
room.
here? Annie's there,
and how they're not trying to all kill each other at the moment. So starting out the episode, when we get the rumbling a bit, this is such a great piece of imagery to me of not imagery. I just really appreciate us sitting here and seeing multiple characters trying to block out the sound of what's happening right now. Because it's not just thunder. It's not just big, like, stomping. It's what comes along with that, what goes along with that.
It's the awareness.
Everything being lost.
The awareness of all of the people that are about to die. And the destruction that's about to happen.
And you're sitting
with
there.
every footstep, they're inches closer to that.
And you're listening to it, and you can't do anything about it yet. You know, you just have to wait and try to sleep through that.
And you might still also be in that kind of dilemma internally of, will you do anything about it? Are you, because I feel like
should you?
Some characters are probably in kind of maybe a 60-40, a 70-30%, where a part of them is like, you know, we do benefit from this. And Jean even says later on, like, he wishes he could have stayed, like, in a room.
Yeah.
And so there is, you know, that going on too with every footstep.
It's like the idea of, okay, this is all happening and it'd be very difficult to stop it.
How do you even think about stopping it?
And so we have a safe life, you know, like that, like, let's say like 10 episodes ago, I was like, okay, so if it comes to that, there might be a reluctance to fight because at least you know all of your friends and family are safe.
Mm-hmm.
But the addition of the Jaegerists and Flock adds that discomfort
it's
and
an insecurity there.
it's like a magnified version of the underlying like uncomfortableness and how we got here. Like we're not those kind of people who would do that, but Flock is an embodiment of the vicious like cycle of hatred and gross war that you're going to be. What Anyan Capone said,
I can't wait to get there.
Yeah,
there's a definite kind of, how can you guys, yes, you'd be safe, but can you really live with each other knowing that you chose to go down the path that you did and basically sell your soul in a way that you can never get back, and it's your humanity, you know?
So going from that, listening all night, we see sleepy Reiner with his like food next to him.
Yep.
Pretty cool. Then we go into Armin and Gabby en route to Connie and Falco. Makes sense that they were able to catch up if they were riding through the night. It's just, again, for like two different characters of duos that I don't think I ever thought I'd see together on screen.
No.
So do you think in so Connie's here, right? He's going forward with his actions, and we'll get there once we get there. But you wrote something down after last episode about...
I was just thinking to myself about the kind of comparison between saving Armin and saving Connie's mom. There was definitely more room for debate, strong feelings wanting to save Armin over Erwin, you know, and people agreeing with that decision compared to the saving of Connie's mom. And I just wrote down, of course it's easier for everyone to be like, yeah, Connie, no, we can't save your mom, because it's not someone that means something to all of them. And, you know, it makes you wonder how Jean, Mikasa, Armin would act right now if they knew about Levi's situation. Would they be sacrificing, like, would they completely change and be like, no, let's sacrifice Falco to Levi? Would they be willing to sacrifice this innocent kid if it was someone that meant something to them? You know, that's if they're Armin, so against it, you know, when it's Connie's mom, well, Connie's mom doesn't mean anything to them because it's not their mom. But if they are shown, and they're like, oh, but it's an innocent kid, we can't kill him also. Like, they're adding that as, like, reason and justification. But then if they knew where Levi was right now, and they saw Levi, I think they would probably and possibly change their tune, which would also add more insult to Connie, being like, so my mom is not worthy to any of you?
Yeah, it's interesting. That's a great point, because if an opportunity arose that it was... somebody that was more directly involved with one of those characters, Mikasa, Armin, Jean, I think that they might say, potentially, if they were trying to argue that they should do it, they would maybe go down the route of, well, we don't know if we can trust this person, but we know, like, since it's Connie's mom, or since it's my mom, we can at least trust them, so at least the power would be used in a way that we, like, you know, it's not going to be against us. Like, I feel like there would be arguments to be made in that sense, but because of where we are and the succession of events that has just happened, I would think they wouldn't sacrifice Falco for one of their own in a weird way. It would be a debate, I think.
All I can think about is just how much that would hurt Connie, to see people be so maybe more willing to even debate the option if it was to give Falco to someone else.
Yeah.
And the hurt he would feel that my friends are going to take this opportunity for me to save my mom away from me and give it to someone else. Someone else is more worthy than my mom. Like the emotional said, though, like journey that Connie would go through from being faced with that kind of would have been very heartbreaking. That
being said, though, he later in the episode was faced with a position where his mom was going to be revived.
I didn't even guess at all that Armin would do what he did, and we're gonna get there.
So when Falco is like, yeah, I heard you talking about it last night.
No,
so
and you're like, Connie.
So was that intentional of Connie? Like, 'cause
maybe subconscious.
When we saw the dialogue from Connie about the situation about Falco, it was all internal. It was all an inner monologue.
Mhm.
So that couldn't have been the time Falco was referencing.
I know, but
and it
it's
all led up to the position of Connie trying to... Connie obviously had a plan. Whether
Yeah.
you can say what you will about his plan to brush Titan's teeth, which gets called back to later in the episode, funnily
Yeah.
enough. But it was a plan, you know? So
Yeah.
it could be intentional, right? The intentional leaking of information.
Connie he says, what an innocent kid, and all I can think upon hearing that Connie talked in his sleep about about what he was going to do just keeps going with all of these themes and words that are being used, both in a self-awareness way
Yeah.
and by other characters of, you wouldn't understand an idiot, you know, a person that thinks like you, Armin, wouldn't understand the idiots. And then,
I wanted
you
to
know,
talk about that,
and
yeah.
we'll get that in a minute, but gosh, talking in his sleep, it really
Yeah.
fits with him.
Well, it wasn't the line, I don't think, was even in his sleep. I think it was talking last night.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
why I brought up that it could be intentional.
He could have intentionally,
like said
or
it out loud.
subconsciously
Yeah.
sabotaged himself.
No, I think he might have said it out loud to... Well, I don't know if I believe it, but there's a possibility that he said it out loud to bring awareness to Falco of the situation. Maybe he already knew Falco, knew the village, and it would go along better with his brushing the teeth plan. At some point, regardless of if Falco knew that or not, he was going to realize that there was a Titan there, and Connie was going to ask him to help brush his teeth. There were so many different faces this episode that were drawn in like a ridiculous way.
I mean,
Connie being the
I thought
first.
all we were gonna get for faces drawn in ridiculous ways was gonna be the Yelena
Yeah.
thing that we got, and that Connie's face was pretty good.
But going back a little bit to preface the line that you had just alluded to, in the forest the night before this, Connie had asked the question, would Sasha have understood? And it's interesting because in a big set, I think that she'd understand. I don't think she'd do what Connie's doing though.
Right. I think what really feels good about referencing Sasha right now is not only is Gabby about to be here in this scenario, but we also got the flashback conversation. Jean had the flashback with Aaron last episode of them all in that, cart together, and Sasha and Connie bickering about how they were idiots,
Yeah.
and couldn't handle having that responsibility of the founding Titan.
I loved this line though. A know-it-all wouldn't get how idiots work, because what we touched on it in the discussion last episode, and just you can my in the moment frustration at Connie taking Falco and running to save his mom. I was so frustrated, but I'm not in that situation, and I think that maybe a way to read a know-it-all wouldn't get how idiots work is that he's acknowledging his actions as idiotic because they're simplistic, and the simplicity of that is, it's my mom, I want to save her, I'm not gonna fucking think about it. I'm it's obvious to me. I want to save my mom. I've been brushing her teeth for years.
And
I want to save her.
He contradicts himself later because he says to Armin that Armin would have put his mom through suffering if she had to turn into a Titan, into
Yeah.
the Colossal Titan. And I'm like, well, Connie, you're basically saying that you knew your mom wouldn't want this.
But it's there's something kind of compelling about a character in a story who not only acknowledges it, but in a way knows that if he thinks about it too much, he'd talk himself out of it, and then is like, no, I just want to save my mom. I'm turning everything
Which
else
is
off.
so fun to see different motivations for actions. And
Yeah.
I don't think we ever really see the motivation of didn't think about it and tried to not think about it.
Yeah.
You never see that. You see people try to think really hard or have a real motivator to what they're doing. But to have someone be like, I'm just going to try to be an idiot, and this is what my idiot self would choose to do.
Yeah. 10 minutes 11 seconds. There's a really unnecessary but cool reflection shot off of Connie's sword. Where
You
can
and your
see...
reflections.
I love reflections because it's
It's unnecessary, but it's amazing.
It's
they could have just done flat, silver of the blade,
yeah.
They did not have to put a reflection there.
Oh, damn. Do I want to spend 15 minutes or 10 minutes, maybe even 3 minutes copying, duplicating the layer, flipping it upside down and reversing it, and then, you know, just cutting it with the diagonal line. Yeah, fuck it, let's do it. You know, I love it so much.
It almost also it gives you this feeling of sharpness.
Yeah,
I think too. Like the blade is sharper once you get that reflection.
It's so cool. But I love Armin's character development here. Just adding on to it, because obviously he's dealing with the after last episode to Mikasa, the thoughts of I wasn't the right choice, and he even
sees a flash of Erwin.
But he's using the fact that he thinks that he wasn't the right choice to motivate and make the right choices going forward by trying to use Erwin's memory for it. Because, yeah, maybe you could make the argument that Erwin would be a better choice. Maybe you could feel that he would have been, and you live in regret like Armin potentially could have. But if those are your feelings, choosing to look back at that person that you think should have been alive and acting how they would, it would be the next step to doing that sacrifice correctly. Right.
Like, not necessarily a what would Erwin do, but almost using Erwin as if he is a confidant and a person working with you that you can call upon. What would he do to help inform your decisions that would fit what you would choose to do?
Yeah.
Definitely something along those lines of more of a working together relationship.
You know what's interesting too? The piece of information that Armin draws from his remembering of Erwin is actions speak louder than words, to very broadly put it, right? But in the time of Erwin's death, what Erwin chose to use to do what he needed to was not just an action. It was mostly his words. And
he was able
shit,
to
I wanted to ride into battle with him.
Yes,
I wanted to ride to my death with him.
Able to get this amazing, I wouldn't even use the word action, this amazing response to the words that he said. And Armin is a man of words. And honestly, if you really think about how many times Armin has tried to use his words in order to evoke a response that is as powerful as what Erwin was, he hasn't necessarily measured up. That's interesting.
It's like the revelation to us is like, there's a time for words, there's a time for action. You need to be able to decide when you need to do, like, which one you need to do here.
Yeah.
And that's what Armin did. He was like right here, words are not going to help. It's not.
But last season, wouldn't he have tried words here, possibly?
Possibly.
It might be a sign of growth.
I think
kind
so.
of deciding to, yes, I should. It's almost like he has now been freed by voicing to Mikasa that he believes he was not the one that should have been chosen,
or at least talking it out loud.
Yes, like it's like he got it
step
out
to him
there,
growing. You know,
and it's now like he can now move forward because he has spoken the thing that was holding him back.
Yeah, I like seeing it. And I like that it doesn't feel like he was trying to outthink Connie here. And that's my biggest takeaway.
There's no manipulation necessarily.
It didn't, and I think
it didn't feel that way.
I think it could have felt like that because we'd known Armin to use that to his advantage previously, and like the
with the Annie. Yeah. Annie's being tortured.
Exactly. And for him not at all to think about that and know that a genuine action is going to evoke the best chance at a positive response is so good.
It's the best with thinking about who he's in front of. Connie would respond to an action.
A know-it-all would try to justify it with words here.
With words,
but an idiot would sacrifice themselves, not think about the consequences of who they're giving the Colossal Titan to. He made Connie into the know-it-all by acting as the idiot. You know, he made Connie contradict himself because of his actions.
You know what it makes me think of? Oh my gosh, it makes me think of Armin was about to be eaten by the Titan season 1 and Eren switches places with him. And it's like Eren's more in that frame of mind of action. Action speaks louder than words, and Armin was the one with the words. And then to have Armin almost kind of switch into how Eren would convince someone of something, or he would just take an action.
Yeah. And I love that the last thing he said before he took that action was, "Gabby, please forgive Connie."
It's so Armin to say that.
It's great. I love Armin so much, dude.
Say that to Gabby 7 episodes
Yeah.
ago, and she would have not forgiven Connie. But I
Yeah.
think the current Gabby is like, yeah, I get it. Everyone is going crazy and doing horrible things right
Yep.
now. I've done horrible things.
Okay, we're getting to the scene with Mikasa reclaiming her scarf. I want to say that her name's Louis or Luis, but I could be wrong, so I'm
I
not
think
going to
it's
say
Luis.
it. The girl lying in the bed who took the scarf, though.
Yes.
Holy shit.
She is about to die.
She has shrapnel from a thunder spear in her side, and she will not live to see the new world that Eren has created. The new free world. But, God, is it interesting that she decides to not put it on in fight, but put it on in death. And that's what she's choosing to wear in bed, dying. And she wants to follow in Mikasa's footsteps. And
This
all
is a very upsetting conversation.
Yeah, and Mikasa's character is an interesting one because like she's very in your face, strong, physically capable, devoted, right?
Mhm.
And we have the whole Ackerman storyline going on at the same time. But what she has got to be dealing with right now is some messed up stuff, man. Like what is she thinking? Remember when Eren was in that memory with Zeke and Eren was just standing there looking at the conversation between his younger self and Mikasa and the
Giving the
handing
scarf.
over of the scarf?
Mhm.
I'm like,
And then Eren, we find out here that Eren had once said that he wished to
throw the scarf away.
Throw the scarf away. And it's possible that alludes to goes against what he said to Mikasa at the table as the tablecloth was getting bloodied and he was making Mikasa and Armin very, very upset.
So what do you think he means by it? Like, I think one takeaway could be, you could save somebody potentially by not not making them this devoted to you and
It's like a
causing you
freedom.
future
I took
pain.
it as a freedom and that she wouldn't be a slave anymore to him if that kind of the
Yes,
scarf was
but you could
discarded.
also mean it more backhanded of I never wanted to, like, you suck. I never
Oh,
wanted
like
you
when
to
he
be
was
part of
like,
my life
I
in
don't
the
even
first
like
place.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could go with like,
Could go
I
either
didn't
way.
give it to you because I cared about you
Yeah.
kind of thing.
So, like, it's interesting. But again, if Eren said that to Luis, if Eren said that to blonde girl dying of shrapnel wounds on her bed, then that could fit. That doesn't necessarily have to be Eren's actual feelings. Like, he's obviously undercover in some weird sense already.
Yeah, but kind of the mood that was set and the way that where he was when he said it, it didn't seem like he was saying it because he wanted to tell her about it. Seemed like he was just thinking, you know?
It seemed like he was just sitting in
It
a
didn't
chair
seem like it
in an empty
mattered.
room being fed bread.
Yeah, but I don't think he would like purposefully say a lie here. I don't think I could see that fitting.
Yeah.
But I think that this conversation gets even more upsetting to me when she really lays it on thick that she is dying in this bed because she wanted to follow in Mikasa's footsteps. And I'm like, not only are you like hurting Mikasa with telling her this information about Eren, but you're also like, I followed Eren because you would have, and now I'm here because you.
But all, like,
yeah.
without her, the scarf would be thrown away. She's the one who saved it, right?
Mhm.
She's the one who took it. And
Yeah, so in a way that could be a good thing. Mikasa takes the scarf. We don't know what she's gonna do with it.
Give
She
it
obviously
back.
removed it from her because obviously with what she says that Eren said, now it has some meaning for Mikasa to keep it, whether to throw in Eren's face later to put back on, I don't know.
I'm obviously joking here, but if a girl who stole my scarf was dying in front of me and I really wanted the scarf back, I'd probably be like, hey, could I borrow it real quick? Like, leave the room, switch it out with another red scarf, like, give her a fake one, take mine back, at least give her like something before she dies.
Mikasa doesn't even care to listen to the rest of the conversation.
I know,
She just walks away with the scarf.
It's so good.
And I was like, I don't know if that's Mikasa just being so in her head and she's not meaning to be rude, or if she's literally meaning to be like, F you.
She's cold as fuck, dude. It was interesting to watch though, because like while Mikasa's running away, the girl's still like, I became a
I
soldier
admire you.
because I admired you. And then Mikasa's like, oh, what? Are you talking? Nah, I'm not interested. I have no regrets. I know she's literally dying. But it's like Mikasa just walks away. Unbelievable.
They had her say no regrets just because Levi's in this
Yeah.
episode.
Facts. I gave my heart and my life following in your footsteps.
And she
Please
like
give
has
me the
her
scarf.
hand like
Unbelievable. So next on the list is okay. I was gonna get ahead of myself and say Annie. We had some flock moments. Great. Had some dirty looks between Jean and Mikasa. Okay. This is
I
a
don't
good
even know if I read it as a dirty look. I almost read it as like Mikasa trying to like figure things out. Like what is Jean doing?
I should
'Cause I
explain
don't
my
know if-
definition of dirty look.
Okay.
A look
I was gonna
that
say I
has
didn't-
intent behind it. It's
Okay.
like I don't know, like it's like you know what I'm thinking, like, or I don't know. It's like I don't know how else to describe it.
Almost like sizing him up. Like, are you really, doing this?
No, like
No, that's not what
like
you're going for?
like no, like we know we know that we're on the same page, but nobody else does. You know.
Oh, so you think it's possible that the plan has already been talked about before
Yeah, because
this?
earlier we saw the already nighttime passing, and we learned later in the episode that the night before was when they planned it.
Huh.
So like this was just
So
them.
then when that guy turns to her and is like, aren't you gonna join?
Yeah.
She kind of brushes him off more.
Yeah. But that was great. It's a good time to say this though. I had this thought in the beginning of the discussion. It's interesting. It's a little bit far-fetched, but I could see a parallel there that after everything we've been through, what Reiner, Bert, and Annie have done to the scout regiment, it's interesting that we have Mikasa and Jean infiltrating the Jaegerists and acting like they are Jaegerists up until this point to betray them for their own motive, just like, Reiner, Bert, and Annie did originally. It's kind of cool. I liked it.
I like it too.
But then we get, yes, okay. This was the scene.
There's a lot of infiltration in this show.
Yeah.
I mean, like Peak infiltrates, Aaron infiltrates, and Marley.
I thought that the episode either skipped ahead or we were watching a different show when we saw like Connie, Armin, Falco, Gabby, and then Annie just sitting right there. I was like, what's going on?
It's like it's so purposeful that another person's in the frame.
Yeah.
But I was too busy thinking in my head, this is so comedic that Falco's just like eating pie with Connie right now after what happened, and they're all just like talking. That I wasn't even focused on there being someone like. And then as soon as it started to get into the Armin like talking, if all the hardenings come undone, it's likely that. And as soon as he started saying this line, then I, of course, with the action then happening at the same time, was like, oh, it's Annie.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm imagining Annie's mind right now and being like, oh god, this is good, but I'm about to run out of food. Hitch better hurry the fuck up. I'm really hungry. Then just hearing the name Annie, and I'm like, what? Like,
So does this mean like Annie didn't even recognize them?
Yes, Annie did not
Like-
recognize them until she heard her own name, which caused her to choke on her pie. Which is amazing.
And then Connie's reaction to this was so good and so Connie.
Because Annie looks like Sasha. Like it's like the whole like idiot
Stuffing
like,
their face.
stuffing your face and then chewing still, like, while it's amazing. And Connie's just
And
like,
that's like exactly what Connie wanted.
yeah, Annie's stuffing her face with pie. Like it's such a perfect Connie reaction.
And why it's so interesting is because Connie has definitely had this big shift in terms of like how he was the one that was kind of the most against Niccolo, and then he feels a little bit more like he was the one that was gonna hold the grudge the longest against Marley,
Yeah.
and be the one that wasn't able to kind of befriend Marley and or ever forgive Reiner and Annie for what they did.
So what do you think the general consensus is about Annie at this point before what do you think Armin's feelings about Annie are before they see each other here? What do you think? So you have all of season 1. You have all of the destruction that Annie and Aaron bring to the fight, and then Annie is benched. you still have all of those feelings and they're real. We go through a couple seasons. We're at season 4. Nothing has changed directly between Annie and Armin, but we've seen their conversations, like when she's still been in the crystal. What do you think? Because it's a very nonchalant response to Annie being there, which I think could potentially be seen as weird because she was like a foe. We haven't seen her in so long. There's no like crazy big surprise, like, oh, what are you doing here? I'm still mad at you. Like a typical show would go down that route of like, hold me back, you know? Like, no, I have to explain you and give you exposition to why they're not Nenemi anymore. Like, it's none of that. It's just like a funny, like, not thinking too much about it introduction.
Which is not something I would have ever guessed. I figured that the reunion between Annie and Armin was going to be either tense, emotional, awkward, so many other areas other than like this sudden surprise. They're actually sitting next to each other. Connie's laughing. Cordial kind of meeting. It's like,
I think that how quick the dialogue happens is what really like makes me examine that, because it's like talking about, oh yeah, if all the hardening's come undone, it's likely that Annie starts choking on her food, and then it's Annie, there's the shock initially, Armin shocked, everybody shocked, she eats more, Connie starts to burst out laughing, Annie's stuffing her face, and look at Armin's like initial response. He's like, cut it out, Connie. She eats like a pig. It's her first pie in years. Like, it's like
he hasn't even registered to him. Like, you would think that he would turn to her and be like, Annie, you know?
Like, how Armin is talking about Annie right now is like made me for a second be like, wait, did they meet up off screen? Like, Armin's talking about it like they have been sitting at the same table for like an hour.
Do you think that's because of the fact that he has been going and speaking to her all these years, and he has Bertholdt's memories?
Yeah.
That he almost probably feels like he's seen her, you know, last week.
I completely think that that's it. And I think that it's interesting because where I think my head expected it to go was the typical route of like, what, like, what Annie said to Hitch last episode, right? But she doesn't need to do that because Armin has Bert's memories. Armin and everything else has progressed with our characters, you know?
And Annie's like not even on guard right now. I think that this was like, I think I wrote it down. I was like, this is the most emotional Annie that we've ever seen. Like an Annie that actually has expressions on her face other than ones of like tensity and upset. You know, like, I think she always seemed very cold and hard. And then when we got, I think it was, the episode name was Smile, I'm pretty sure. The one where she starts smiling. Oh, yeah,
the female Titan.
And it's like the emoting. And then we're getting this Annie she's still eating as Connie's laughing at her. Like, this broken down wall that has happened since she was thawed out and now has been with, like, Hitch, and she's been hearing Hitch and Armin talk all these years. This thawing of her, it's almost like an actual thaw of her.
No, it is, and I think it is intentionally too, because it's not just hearing Hitch and Armin talk. It's realizing that she misses her dad and wants to see her dad again too. It brings somebody who turned their emotions off and was trying to be intentionally cold into emotions and feeling, and that it's expressive. Like, we see it.
It's like, because what she didn't want to do this mission. So she had to cut off her own emotions because she needed to soldier on and do this mission because that's what her dad had put her into. And now she has the desires and she has the motivators, her own personal motivators to do something. So that means that she can be more emotional and she can unlock that.
I'm going to talk completely subjectively here. I am very mad at Attack on Titan for sending Hitch home.
Yeah! Hitch was like...
Hitch looks like a Fire Emblem character.
I love Hitch. Hitch is a good design.
Yeah.
But it's upsetting because of the conversation Hitch had with Annie, where Hitch, the only like meaningful work Hitch has ever done is basically cleaning up after Annie. And I'm like, Annie, why the hell would you leave Hitch? Like, Hitch is an asset, and she is your best friend and roommate. Honestly, it could have been a protective
Again,
measure.
I told you this was subjective. Like, objectively, it's the right move. but subjectively, I am very upset.
It's hurt. I mean, like, I can understand Hitch probably is hurt here, but I think I wasn't thinking about how it could have been a move to protect her, keep her away from the action.
You give this cute character a red cloak, a maroon cloak at that, with no emblems on the back. You know, it's just like, and then you don't let me see him anymore. It's messed up. You don't do that to a man.
And then now she has to eat this whole pie by herself.
Making it sound like a bad thing.
Well, she said she can't eat it all.
Your gloomy roommate.
I know, your gloomy roommate. Thanks for talking to me these past 4 years. I think the funniest...
That's a lot for Annie to say.
That's a lot, exactly.
Yeah.
We don't actually know what Annie's personality is. Because I think she shut it all off. We don't really know what she's like, and I feel like this is an exciting journey we're about to go on where we're gonna learn, like, who she actually is.
In a weird way, she's probably like talking from like an emotional development point of view. She's probably like a child, right? She has only known to shut her emotions off, train, be cold, and now she's like, fuck, I'm hungry. Better stuff my face like this, you know?
Right. What's interesting is we have her going through these kind of breaking down of how you've lived your life, and she's probably at the same time as the actual children in the show. And so it's interesting because we have these kind of, what I'm assuming are probably more around 12, 13, Falco and Gabby.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Annie that's probably around 16, 17. And then we have Armin and Connie and Hitch that are probably early 20s. You know? And it's like now we're all across the board in terms of development, but we're also seeing this crossover of like, you're not as mature as your age necessarily.
Yeah.
Like, age doesn't equal, like, emotional development.
Yeah. So getting on to the scene with Flock and talking to Yelena and Anya Capone.
Yes.
I love, like, just how the story is. Flock as a character is a shit, right? Like, but him being like revving up the crowd, be like, yeah, let's kill you later, this piece of shit, being like, but that's the main event. We gotta have, you know, the prelims first.
We're gonna have Jean kill Anya Capone first.
Yeah, you know, gotta sweeten up the crowd, get them excited for the main event.
I'm not surprised that she is willing to die here. She's completely broken. I mean, she was, as Flock put it, completely a pawn to Zeke's plan. And it is what she wanted. That was her desired plan, and I think that she probably is like, okay, yeah, shoot me.
I'm interested that she's coming along for the ride.
Yeah, it's kind of like, why do Magath and Peak want her, you know? Is it to help unlock what Zeke was truly thinking? Like, because she might know more than anyone else that we haven't learned yet?
Or like traitor.
Or is it more like war, like you took a prisoner of war back home? But like, what's the point of taking a prisoner of war back home if you don't even know if back home is going to be alive?
Well, remember who the person who made like the beard comment was on the back in Marley, right? It was Peak, and it like there's been a pre-established like upset at Yelena for this. She's a traitor, like she did this for Zeke. So
do they want to kill her themselves? Maybe. I don't know. I don't even know if that is killing her really like narratively fulfilling at the moment. Probably. If it happens like that, just so easy, like, here, we turned over this person to you, and then they kill her on. They
would just be as bad as Flock in them,
yeah,
right?
So
I think that there's some type of justice they want to do for her, but regardless, it's going to end up with her sacrificing herself somehow
she's
for
probably
Zeke,
gonna
right?
die. Yeah, she's probably not gonna make it by the end of the show.
Probably
by choice.
Anya Capone. I don't know how this man has made it into my heart for like a lack of scenes. I mean,
he made it into Hanji's heart, and so
that's fair. Same thing.
Through their little relationship, the glimpses of it that we got, it's definitely he shines in those. Venn
diagram. And the only ones left will be you, xenophobic shits.
I
don't know. Like I like that he is genuine. Like he's genuine. That like
this is upsetting to him. It's not even like upsetting that he's going to die. It's upsetting that he had full intention to be there to help them in hopes that this would help everyone against who he views as the villain, Marley.
He expects people to at least see the humanity in a situation and see that he had no intentions that were bad here, but it is only being met with somebody like Flock, who he doesn't think that way, you know, and it's fucking upsetting. And thank God that everybody's here.
He's not a hypocrite.
Yeah.
He's like, I was against Marley, and now you're doing things Marley would do.
Yep.
Like, of course he's not going to be under the Eldian Empire. And he's like looking at all of you, and he was like, you guys all suck. And I'm like, I completely agree with that.
And John's like, whoops, I missed. Missed like 4 times. But I don't know. I like...
And Flock is like devastated.
Yeah.
He's like, what? I thought we were going to be bros for life. Like, it's like he wanted Jean to be his best friend.
I could see
He's
that.
so upset.
Well, in the same way that the blonde girl on the bed dying from a shrapnel wound due to the Thunder Spear, I don't want to get her name wrong, is trying to be Mikasa, Flock it looks up to Eren quite a bit, right? So if I have to pivot where I wanted that girl to dye her hair. Now I want Flock to grow out his hair and then dye it and try to become Eren.
It's so interesting of this dynamic here, because if you think about who Jean was to Eren in the earlier seasons before Flock's introduction, was somewhat of this kind of like the leader, you know, that cleaned up after and or helped Eren with what he needed to do, the true leader.
Yeah.
And Flock is trying to be the leader for Eren's cause at the moment. And so he has this respect and admiration towards Jean, who he views as being, you know, the person who kind of did that already before him. And I think he feels very betrayed at the moment.
Agreed. You want to know who else feels betrayed? Peak. How dare...
How
you know what? No.
you say a lady needs to brush her teeth?
No, that's not at all what Hanji was saying. Hanji is me, okay? Legit, like, I would have asked the same fucking question. I'm surprised I haven't asked the same question since the start of the series, or since we met Peak. The cart can stay a Titan for months, right? Don't you brush your teeth? That's a great question.
And to have it, as you said earlier with Connie's mom, to have it in the same scenario. I mean, it's almost like a joke.
It's a callback, yeah.
It's like a little planted joke, because like, why are we talking about Titans brushing their teeth?
Yeah.
Like,
it's a good little callback. But it's hilarious, and it means nothing, and it's
there
not
was a lot
supposed
of
to mean
comedic.
anything, but it's
There were
great.
like little comedic things in this
flourishes,
episode.
right?
Yeah. Which is funny when it's such like a bleak.
It's funny how they can have fun episodes still.
And you get these little fun moments, and the ending is very kind of this really fun, ramped up, happy energy of excitement. But then you also get some like language that hasn't been used yet in the series to describe people, like Onion Capone's speech, that has such a heavy like gravity to it, and is, you know, really dark stuff. And to have that have a mix in this episode of like, and then Titans brush their teeth, you know, it's so this kind of
contrast.
Yes.
Totally.
And it made it better that these things were in the same episode.
I completely agree with you. I'm just looking at the last like shot we get of Mikasa, Connie, Gabby, Falco, Reiner, and then Annie and Armin standing next to each other. And what's the line? The line that Reiner does not want to fucking hear, because that's like, he was trying to do that before. That's what he thought that he was doing. That's what he was saying he was going to do, but now has come full circle, and now he is going to try to save the world.
I know, he wanted it all to be over.
Yeah.
He was like, Eren, can't we just end this already? Can't it all just be over? And now Connie's like, okay, come on, Reiner, we're gonna go save the world. And thank goodness it was Connie delivering this line to him.
Agreed. So last thing, what's their plan? Like, are they going to form some sort of mega person? Are they going to try to climb up whatever the fuck Eren is and talk to him? Try to get Zeke out of Eren's hands so he stops? What's Eren's reaction going to be? Lots of questions.
I think the piece that I'm interested in at the moment in what action is going to happen is Flock. Because Flock has just been slighted, basically, in front of all of these Jaegerists that look to him as a leader. And he, right before this happens, thinks to himself, where's Mikasa? And like, he's realizing that all of these parties are now moving possibly against the Jaegerists. All of the Jaegerists might start to feel like Flock's leadership might not be it.
Yeah.
We also have the question of who was watching them from the window.
Yeah. So so I was thinking the window thing too, and my mind was going like a million miles a minute while you're talking right there. What if there's a what if story of Attack on Titan? Not this one, but a what if that Eren could have passed the Warhammer Titan onto Flock, and Flock was like looking out the window, was like, I gotta stop him. And like Flock with like the Warhammer Titan was about to like try to take all these people on.
I would just, in a what if episode, want to see every person who doesn't have a Titan power have
Titan
one,
power,
just for fun.
Yeah.
Maybe as like some type of video game where you can just pick a character and put a Titan on them and you get to see what it looks like and
You're
like
just
battle against each other.
Directly, like quoting Fire Emblem right now. Yeah, the new one. But yeah, I don't know. Actually, that was a pretty fun episode. Which is interesting based off of what has happened the last 5 episodes. You know?
I am in awe.
Have anything else?
I don't think so. Okay, parting questions. What's gonna happen to the scarf? Is it being retired? Is it being thrown in
Give it
Eren's
back to
face? Is it being burnt up? Like, I don't know. Is something gonna happen with that? Yeah.
Without Ymir, would Eren go back to being dead?
Well, I think right now we're being led to believe that Eren needs Zeke still to even be able to communicate with Ymir in the way that he is. And to be doing this.
Yeah.
So there's still some question marks there.
I was just thinking of like, okay, scarf that goes around your neck. Eren doesn't have a neck anymore, or didn't. I don't know. Wrap it back up, like I don't know. I was trying to.
But we
piece something
got that
together.
awesome shot of the spine, basically like reconnecting the head and the body,
Yeah.
and then
That's what I was asking. Like, I was like, okay, what if like Aaron's Mikasa like puts the scarf back around Eren. Eren's like, here, it's yours, have it back. The breaking of like connection happens. Eren's like, what? And then his head just falls off because the scarf can't keep it on. I don't know. All right, sorry.
where is Zeke? Is Zeke like in the body of Eren?
No idea.
Like trapped in there, like under the skin?
Could be like next to him in like a nape.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that they can talk. Have little conversations. That'd be funny.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.